What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're definitely going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart and the altcoin market and the stock market and really all over the place after the chaotic day that we had yesterday in markets where Bitcoin's price flew down into the 29,000s, while at the same time we saw UST or Terra's UST dip all the way down to 60 cents, depegging from the US dollar, which, if you're unaware, Terra USD is number 10 by market cap in the cryptocurrency market, in which in the top 10 coins, 4 of them are stable coins. Number 10 over here, Terra USD, depegging and chaotic last night, while the Bitcoin price action was climatic. So, what a day yesterday, right? I mean, I think back to the days that I've been in crypto, and I've been in here since mid to early 2017, and all the different kind of capitulation moments that I've been through in this market. And that had a lot of those feelings where you had some type of narrative happening where things were like breaking in the market while it was happening. Usually with capitulations, you get that feeling in your gut of like, man, are things worse than what we think they are? And then it's right when you get to that moment of questioning, are things worse than when we think they are? Boom, a bottom can come in. So in the climatic moment last night, as UST dropped all the way down to 60 cents, that's while we were having Bitcoin reaching all the way back down here into the 29s. So there was a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. We'll run through all of it. I don't have all the answers for you on the market, but I'll show you all the things that I am looking at here. I think the things we're all looking for, right, are can we see signs that a bottom is coming in, or is there further down to go? And I'll show you what I'm looking at on that. But first things first, let's look over here at the Coinbase chart for Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin traded over on Coinbase, and we can see the volume profile down here, the volume of what we've seen in trading activity over the course of the last year and a half. The volume that we saw come in yesterday broke records for almost an entire year on the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour, and daily time frame. Huge, massive volume happened yesterday. And we can see that when we kind of zoom in here a little bit to see, here I am on the 4 hour chart. The last time that we saw this level of volume would have been way back here in May of 2021, which I'm sure many of you remember who were here during that time. But that the amount of volume that showed up in here yesterday, the selling volume here on the 4 hour, the 8 hour over here, the 12 hour, and the daily time frame all set the records here for 2022 and the second half of 2021. We can look at how much sell volume even came in here. It exceeded both this capitulative moment and this capitulative moment, which this was really a liquidation event that happened in a matter of minutes. The amount of volume that occurred in here, we've exceeded that. So when looking for bottoms, one of the important things to look for is going to be high volume, capitulative volume, whether that's on tops, whether that's on bottoms. One of the things you can look back to is C19, in which we had incredible amounts of volume come in here and then incredible amounts of buy volume show up at the same time. Now, one of the things from a sentiment standpoint that ends up kind of marking these bottoms too is that people won't trust it. They won't think that it's really actually the bottom. And that's what we had happen back there in C19, is there was just a very lack of faith that there was actually going to be recovery in here. And I remember during that time period having to kind of combat a lot of people saying we were going to do this all over again. So even dating to September, so this is in March, we get all the way to September, still nobody believes that this thing is going to rally. They think we're going to capitulate again and have kind of a structure that looked like that. But once we finally broke out into all-time highs, finally sentiment changed. Finally, people were like, okay, we can believe in this rally. But the rally was never believed in until we finally got through the all-time high. So even though the volume showed up in here to show reversal volume, people didn't believe in it. Do we have something similar to that right now? It appears like it. I would think sentiment's pretty beat up, even if the big volume does show up. Sentiment feels pretty beat up. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. But right now, what do we have? We have high selling volume. What do we need to see reversals? You want to see high buy volume come in. So there's still, from me recording at this moment, you can look right here, there's 10 and a half hours left remaining in this day for high volume to still show up throughout the day for us to kind of mark that bottom. But if we kind of finished how we are today, or if for some reason prices pulled back down and we flipped red at the end of the day, wouldn't be too convinced. But seeing prices rise more, seeing higher volume come in. That's what I would be looking for today, to look for signs of optimism that the bottom is in for this move. But what we obviously see here is a tremendous amount of volume came in here, a tremendous amount of fear and panic came in here on the daily, the 12-hour, the 8-hour, 4-hour, setting a 4-hour record for last year, even the 2-hour, and even the 1-hour, setting 1-hour volume over here. So definitely huge volume. Now we just need to see some high volume come in and say that they bought it all up and took it off of everybody's hands and that it was a shakeout. But still too early in the day to see that just yet. Next, onto Ethereum. It was able to hold the lows throughout the chaotic moment that was happening yesterday, which is good. This is a structure we've been looking for. Look, our structure we do dip down in here for an A, B, C. So long as these lows hold, everything is good to go over here on Ethereum. You take out those lows, bigger problems come in. Otherwise, we talk about capitulative volume showing up on Bitcoin. We talk about this reaching to the level that is fine. That may have been it. But for an ABC correction in here, there's a hard line in the sand down here right there for Ethereum at 2157. You take that out, you're no longer doing an ABC. But otherwise, Ethereum held through the moment. Now, on to XRP. This is the one that kind of breaks my heart a little bit because it makes things incredibly more difficult on reading the XRP price chart over here. As we've seen throughout the history of the XRP price chart and in many assets, crash, retrace, reaccumulations are very common, in which we will crash down, go back to retracement levels, revisit the lows, work our way out, and then finally break the retracement levels to go on for extensions. We've seen that happen back in 2017 as well, before the big run up ended up happening in here, which we crashed, worked our way back to retracement levels, the 618, reaccumulated the lows, and then off and away we went. Well, that's not what played out right here for XRP after a year of consolidating in here and pulling off what appeared to be a typical crash, retrace back to 618, reaccumulation. We take out the lows. So the read over here on XRP becomes increasingly more difficult, saying that it's just tied to the rest of the market, which it really destroys the SEC's case to say that Ripple has the ability to pump this thing, because we clearly see over and over again, whenever the market is chaotic, XRP is chaotic as well. Now, the hard thing about XRP in here with the read happening in here, for me personally, is that I have to say to myself, all right, I still just have to wait to see this market retrace and wait for this market to have an altcoin run where XRP runs with it. I do see 5 ending waves coming in here where we did have a capitulative moment happen in the market. I do see that this was a test of the 200-week moving average in here. But at the same time, hard to know in this moment, since the last 24 hours have been so chaotic, whether or not that's just a little bit of hopium and optimism and denial. And then my brain starts running down, okay, well, wait a minute. What if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C? Then we go back into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finishing off the last wave with 5 waves into a capitulative moment. Hard to know, guys. I'm going to have to let this thing play out. I'm certainly disappointed on it. Not that I've lost faith in XRP and thinking that it's one of the best digital assets in the space, and that when the market turns back up, XRP will do fine. Problem is, on the short-term time frame right in here, I just don't have a really clear read on it, and I need to see some more things play out in this market at this point. I think the first place is going to be, does Bitcoin have any chill in it right now? Because here's the problem with the read that I have on XRP. One, we know that XRP moved down with Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin done? Is the market done? If the market is done, well, that's optimistic for XRP. And is this just a wrong footing happening in here? And this is just 5 waves down of an A, B, C happening in here with 5 waves to finish it off. This is all wrong footing. The read is right, and we're just getting tricked and they're sucking out liquidity underneath here. If it's not, and if the price of XRP is going lower, my guess would be as good as anybody's. I mean, I've seen all of them out there, people saying this is descending triangles. It can't be a descending triangle. What's a descending triangle? It's taking it down to 0. But your guess is as good as mine is how deep it's going to go if it is going to break lower, or it's just a wrong footing. And what I know about the 2017 bull run, because I was in XRP for the whole ride up in here, is that there was a wrong footing right before I ended up taking off. But there's no question, that level got breached. And figuring out where a downside target on that would be super difficult, because then you have to say to yourself, what is the whole structure that's happening in here for XRP at this point? Either you're saying you have two options that you're saying if this thing is going to go significantly lower in here. It's that one, XRP is never going to be anything. This thing is just going to break down and there's really no value to it whatsoever. Or two, that you have some type of crash, retrace, reaccumulation that is happening on the much bigger time frames in here, and that it's going to go down and then consolidate for a long time before a really big bull run eventually comes in. But picking out where's that dollar level of where that's going to happen at, I don't have a measurement for you in here, unless if this is a wrong footing. Because one of the other things we've been looking at over here has been the U.S. stock market and the Dow Jones Industrial Average following this as an ABC. This thing has followed along our entire time until this past week, right? We saw waves of equal length. We saw a 702 Fibonacci retracement come back in here. We saw a capitulative moment with Russia and Ukraine come in here. And we look for the prices to rally up and get back to the 35,000 level. We got all these things. We pulled back in here. Even last week, I'm like, hey, super optimistic. This is what we're looking for. Structurally, this is normal. We're going to have this big pullback that's going to come back in here, 700-800 points. We get it, but suddenly it goes even further, right? So we spend months following a structure in here. Everything is good. And then we get some wicks that take us down below the sea leg. Is it a precursor for all of this was a big giant trick, or is that the trick? Was that a wrong footing and a capitulative moment happening in stock market, happening in cryptocurrency, and happening on XRP as well? All these things are very difficult to read right now, unless if we can get some high buy volume to come in today and a big push up to mark the bottom coming in here. Otherwise, it's going to remain this kind of moment. From my experiences of being in this market and going through many capitulations in this market, things that we typically see, if you look over there on the right side of the screen, we see a lot of like 7, 8, 9, 10, you see 13, 14% bounces over here in a lot of these altcoins. But true marks of the bottom, when that bottom gets solidified and marked, is that we see 30, 40, 50, 60%, because these things all take these big drawdowns in this capitulative moment, and then they slingshot back up, reclaiming 30, 40, 50, 60% relatively quickly. So I'm not super convinced on this 9, 10, 11, 12% stuff, but would want to see more. But I think we have good early signs today. We just need more follow through. And we can see even on Ethereum here, buyers are showing up in here. Buyers are holding up this level. Buyers are showing up over here on Coinbase. Not quite as much over here on FTX, but they are showing up over here on Binance. But we need more than that. What you really want to see for like a sigh of relief is to have more buy volume than you did sell volume. To take this thing out and say buyers came in with a vengeance down in here. Like we saw the last time we had massive capitulation in which buyers came in. And the market still won't trust it. This market still won't believe it from a sentiment standpoint. Market is in extreme fear. To understand how fearful the market is right now, we can look right in here. This is as fearful as we have gotten over the course of the last 2 years. We haven't seen this level of fear that was a little bit deeper than this since C19. But each time we have reached maximum fear levels, this is where we've gotten to, this 10, 11 area for maximum fear. And that's where we're at right now. We also know that the whole market is bearish right now, right? It's the content creation that's put out there that we're in a bear market. And we can go back and just kind of understand sentiment from what happened back in July, August, September, and October as we ran up in here, right? What happened is that nobody trusted this rally. If you remember clearly, obviously I'm here every day making videos every day. I remember it. I get to see the comments of what happens. Nobody trusts this rally. We get back to the retracement level. We have the El Salvador stuff. Price crashes at the retracement levels. Everybody says, see, you couldn't trust it. You couldn't trust it. Then once it breaks through that level in there, everybody buys the market. Everybody's saying 100K. We're going to 100K. This is where I start posting all my stuff saying we're not going to go to 100K. I present a long threaded thing over there on Twitter saying we're not going to go to 100K. We're much closer to the top than we are to going significantly higher. But the entire market finally, once getting through that retracement level right in there and breaking out in here, the whole market turns bullish altogether, right? Then it takes getting all the way back down in here. And then particularly right in here, everybody suddenly becomes bearish altogether. Content creation becomes bearish. Sentiment becomes bearish. Fear becomes extreme. We break these highs. Everybody's fearful altogether. Everybody's panicked. Just like we take out the highs over here, everybody becomes euphoric together. everybody becomes panicked together, all the while still sitting down here on our range. So we've seen sentiment behave exactly like it did up in here, that they don't trust the rally until it breaks through here. Just like in here, they didn't trust the fall, that it would actually fall until we get the breakdown in here. Now everybody trusts the fall. Still, the most logical thing to me is heading back in for an ABC correction, getting back to the retracement levels. But there are still concerns out there. Right now is one, I'm waiting for some volume to come in to prove that that low is going to hold for today. I'm concerned about seeing XRP take out these lows over here. And I'm concerned about those wicks that happened over there in the stock market on whether or not that was a trap or whether or not that's a precursor. And so right now, for me to get back to being more comfortable with things being okay, is that I have to see more follow through come back to the upside. If you got the Dow Jones to revert back up here to like 34,000, if you got Bitcoin to revert back up to about 40,000 on some high volume, holding the lows down here, I'd have a lot to talk about. But while we're down here, I'm cautious because of the things that I've seen happen on XRP, the things I've seen happen over there in the Dow Jones. But at the same time, I see good things too. I see Bitcoin still holding its lows, and I see Ethereum still holding up in here as well. And in our previous market cycle, when things went into retracements like this, it was an epic YOLO shot for the altcoin market. So it's curious to me on whether or not these are wrong footings that are happening here in this market, considering we're seeing this guy still hold and we see this guy still holding. My long-term view on both Bitcoin and Ethereum are bearish, but bear markets do not typically go down in straight lines. They go down in waves, and at the top of each wave, the whole market will be euphoric and thinking that the market's going to continue going up. And at the bottom of waves, the whole market will be bearish and think that it's going to keep going down. And the whole way, it will continuously wrong foot the market over and over again. Right now, what do we know? In just these last couple of weeks, finally everybody flipped over to bearish. What happened? Everybody acts like I've been bearish the whole time. Yeah, just 1 month ago was the Bitcoin conference. Everybody was YOLO and bullish. Now everybody is bearish. So when sentiment swings like that, when we see high capitulation, when we see a moment like what happened with UST, Terra USD, where a decoupling or a depegging versus the dollar happened, we had a climatic event occur at the exact same time. All those things catch on my radar of like, man, was that excessive? Was that more than the market could handle? Did anybody who was going to get shaken out and couldn't psychologically handle any of that, did they get shaken out during that moment? And the best way to know that is to leave them behind, is to see high volume come in, high volume bring the price back up, and then see a bunch of people screaming, don't trust it, don't trust it, don't trust it. Because what happened? They sold at the lows. They've been left behind. Now they've got to sit back and wait for some type of confirmation to feel like that it's safe for them to enter. And when do they typically feel it's safe to enter? Once it gets back into the retracement levels, because some narrative comes out, something exciting comes out, something positive happens, and then they get wrong-footed again at the top. But so far, the lows are holding, sentiment's extreme, and we also saw capitulative volume and capitulative sentiment, and we saw an event occur in the market at the same time when that was occurring that caused additional fear in the market that things were breaking when Terra USD decoupled from the dollar and fell as low as 60 cents per dollar, and still only at 92 right now. So caution is still on for today. I don't see any signs of everything popping up just yet. We need to see some higher volume come in on the opposite side to start feeling some signs of relief. But some definite concerning things happened over there in the market in regards to the stock market piercing lower, UST breaking, XRP dipping lower. But we do see that Bitcoin is still holding its lows and Ethereum is still holding its lows at this point. So we'll watch and see how things go today. Fingers crossed we can see something positive come in here to give us a positive sign. But right now, we're still waiting on it. So, all right, guys, I'll be over here on Twitter throughout the day. You can catch me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.